Next, we'll travel to Australia's Northern Territory to visit Kakadu National Park. In Kakadu, we'll get to see some interesting and beautiful rock art scattered throughout the park, where the landscape is as severe as almost any place on Earth. Kakadu National Park is an austere yet beautiful setting for one of the world's most interesting archives of an obscure culture. The Aboriginals have made this area home for, some say, 40,000 years, by far the longest continuous habitation of an area by one culture. Over the eons, the Aboriginals have left their mark on the rocks here, giving us a mysterious insight into their past. Our trip to Kakadu National Park begins in an area known as Uber, home of some of the oldest rock art in the park. As we arrive in Uber, our guide Ralph warns us against dehydration in the intense heat of the outback. The trails in Uber are well marked, and dirt paths allow you to get close to much of the fragile rock art, which gets its color from the natural ochres the Aborigines derived from their surroundings. Some of the more recent paintings are vivid, but many of the older ones have faded from exposure to the harsh weather of the Kakadu. Signs posted along the way describe the significance of the art and the surrounding landscape, which are intrinsically linked. A lot of the rock art is extremely sacred to the Aboriginals, the true native Australians, and is off limits to the public. But there is still some really cool and important works along the trails for all to learn from and enjoy. The rock art is frequently found in protected areas under rock ledges and alcoves where people made their homes. A lot of the old art is covered by the new. When one family moved on, the next family just painted right over the old.
The painters come to remove the overhang here because people lived under here, and this is basically their wallpaper. So whenever the new family moves in, they don't like the old wallpaper, they put up the new stuff.
When you go to Kakadu National Park, especially in the dry season, which is the Australian summer, the heat is intense and the black flies are everywhere. Our guide Ralph, a naturalist at heart, tells us how if it were not for his wife and kids, he would be living in the bush. The bush is another word for the outback, which is the Australian wild frontier.
You've always known my first love has always been the bush. My first love doesn't sound very nice, but it's true. My first love is always the bush. Okay, my second love will always be here and the kids.
Here's a point of interest. The summer in Australia is the winter time here in the Northern Hemisphere. An important fact to remember when planning your trip to Australia. The rock art often depicted the mythology of the Aboriginal artists. This painting of the rainbow serpent is one of the oldest in the park. The rainbow serpent myth is the only myth shared by all Aboriginal tribes throughout Australia.
And the story of the rainbow serpent, how it came around, will change from place to place. Most tribes don't have much to do with each other.
A lot of the rock art in what is called X-ray style displays images of Mimi spirits, spirits that control our natural surroundings. To learn more about X-ray art and Mimi spirits, log on to pointsofinteresttv.com. This is Namajan the Lightning Man, Namajog, his brother-in-law, and his wife, Barajan, who, as the legend goes, became the rainbow serpent after falling off this cliff. Often, the rock art depicts animals that were important to the artist's existence. This painting that Ralph is describing to us is of an ancient wallaby that roamed this area almost 10,000 years ago.
Head, very powerful forearms, very short stubby legs, quite a short tail.
Well, that's Points of Interest for today. I hope you enjoyed our trip to Australia. Log on to our website, pointsofinteresttv.com, for much more information, links, and facts about our Australian trip. Next time, Points of Interest heads east to St. Vincent's, a beautiful island in the Caribbean. We'll visit St. Vincent's during Jump Up, when school auditoriums are transformed that night into audition halls, where calypso performers, sometimes 20 in one night, try out for carnival celebrations. See you!
1, 2, 3, start the ceremony.